On the morning of Saturday the 19th of July, shortly after the body was recovered from the car, Dr. Mills, the local medical examiner, arrived on the scene. In normal circumstances, where death was not obviously the result of natural causes, an autopsy would have been ordered.
Dr. Mills said, well, it certainly looks like a simple drowning, John, but he said the autopsy will tell. I thought nothing of that, because an autopsy would be a normal thing to do where you had so many questions as to the cause of death. And but that was a statement which was going to come and haunt poor Donald for a long time.
Unsure of how to proceed because of the people involved, Dr. Mills sought advice from the district attorney's office about an autopsy. The reply he received was ambiguous and was to lead to bitter dissension later on. Dr. Mills' colleague in the practice was Dr. Nevin.
Things were sort of being hinted and said, be a good guy and don't obstruct the Kennedys and play the game and you'll not have any problems. I felt that an autopsy was in order and that it was certain inevitable questions were going to be asked that I would feel happier and more comfortable if they could be answered appropriately, and the only appropriate way that I knew of was with an autopsy. And I think the facts have borne me out, but there's just two different opinions. Republicans and Democrats, you know.
Did you request an autopsy?
Actually, not in those exact words.
Not in those exact words,
Could you tell me the exact words, Doctor?
I stated to the district attorneys,
If the district attorney advised it,
under the particular circumstances, that I would like an autopsy.
Could you restate that, please?
I'm sorry. I sent word to the district attorney's office the particular circumstances of the case and asked if, under these circumstances, if they felt an autopsy should be done, I would like to have it done.
The spotlight was now on the district attorney, Denise, the only person with the authority to initiate further legal action. But he was caught in a dilemma between his legal duty and his sympathy for Kennedy. However, he finally decided to act.
Basically, I am not satisfied with the finding that was made at the scene of the accident. I feel that the opinion rendered by the assistant medical examiner at that time is not sufficient.
The scene now shifted to the imposing courthouse at Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, within whose jurisdiction Mary Jo Kopechne was buried. District Attorney Denise now sought the exhumation of the body of Mary Jo Kopechne for an autopsy. The request was made before Judge Bernard Breminski.
Could we defer that until the statement's over? Then anything you'd like, we'd be very happy to accommodate you. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, shortly before lunch, Attorney Edmund Denise, the District Attorney of the Southern District of Massachusetts, and his staff presented to me a petition for the exhumation and autopsy of the body of Miss Kopechne. At this meeting and presentation of the petition, Attorney Joseph Flanagan, Esquire, and John O'Connor, Esquire, verbally filed their appearances on behalf of Joseph A. Kopechne and Gwen L. Kopechne, the parents of the deceased.
A few weeks before, Mrs. Kopechne had been quoted in the press as favouring an autopsy, but now, unaccountably, the Kopechnes opposed it without elaboration.
We feel that nothing will be gained by exhuming the body at this time.
I'm a parent too, and I know that in those circumstances I probably would be indecisive at times. Yes, no, maybe, why not, why? So if people in the press caught her at various stages, I'm not a bit surprised that she said yes one day, no another day, maybe another day after that. And ultimately, I think it's a matter of religious conviction, personal conviction, moral judgments, and the rest of it. And I think I know, because I listened to them many times, how strongly they felt about it. What was done, it was over, and nothing was going to change that. And maybe at God's peace was a good way to have it be.
The law in Pennsylvania holds that exhumation autopsy should not be ordered unless it is clearly established that good cause and urgent necessity for such action exists. Said action should not be taken except on a strong showing. The law will not reach into the grave in search of any facts except in the rarest of cases.
The man who would have performed the autopsy and was called as an expert witness believed that this was such a case.
The issues basically were, number one, whether an autopsy could help even after exhumation, and the answer was yes. Second, whether the autopsy could establish beyond any reasonable doubt the drowning, and the answer again is yes, both by exclusion of other causes of death, such as injuries, and by a more complete examination. And therefore, these were the two basic reasons for basic issues, and the answer to both was yes. I mean, that the autopsy was necessary, that the autopsy could help, that the autopsy could, even in an embalmed body and buried for a period of time, could be very helpful, depending on the condition of the body, of course, which no one could predict.
So it came as a surprise that in spite of the weight of expert testimony favouring an autopsy, the judge rejected the request.
The experts for the Mary Jo Kopechne's mother and dad were quite concrete. They were sure that the cause of death was by drowning. Now, the experts for the petitioners, Mr. Denise's side of the case, said we could find this, we could find that, we could find this. And it was a very, very speculative situation. And I would say that if I granted the autopsy, then that would give rise to more speculation. And I accepted the fact that it was a classic case by drowning upon weighing the testimony of both of the experts.
The decision came as a relief to Mary Jo's parents.
This means that I'll come up here very, very often to visit my daughter. I couldn't have faced coming back and going up to the cemetery, and I honestly mean this, I could never have gone up to that cemetery again if I'd known it had been disturbed.